What's up? We are back here in the creative world. If I were to fly backwards just a bit, you would find all of the trees that we made. But in back of me, as you probably saw, there's this awesome house. Unfortunately, today we will not be doing a tutorial of this, as you saw in the thumbnail. This is what we are going to be working on today. So this is a modern cliffside house. I know it doesn't look like it at the moment, and that's because I'm also going to teach you guys in this video how to terraform, which is definitely a good skill to learn. So I'm going to exactly tell you how to terraform this cliff to make this look very natural. Well, not natural, but it's going to look very, very nice. So for the materials of the actual build, let's open this chest and I will show you exactly what. Okay. So, the first thing that you need is white concrete. You probably need, remember, it's just going to be actually like a facade almost, because most of it is going to be embedded in the cliff, so you actually don't need that many of the materials if you're playing in survival. Gray concrete, just a little bit less than the actual white, I'm not sure the exact amounts. Stripped oak wood, so that might take a while in survival and creative. Of course, none of these are a problem. Oak signs, and I know you can't really see anything, but light gray glass panes and light gray stained glass, right? And then I'll show you at the very end, there's actually an added bonus if you use shaders with gray banners. Okay, and then for the actual cliff, we are going to be using stone, andesite, cobblestone, gravel, stone slabs, and stone buttons. And for an added feature, you could actually take some water if you want. I will be showing you what you should do. And additionally, some stone stairs, maybe some andesite stairs as well. Just add those in there if you want to have a special bonus at the very end. So let's get into the exact tutorial on how you would make this house. Okay, so now it is time to get into the build. So, as you can see, I placed wool across all of these so you can see the exact dimensions if you didn't hear the first time. But I'll say the exact dimensions of the build that we're going to be doing at the moment. So, the first build is 17 down and 7 across, made of white concrete. Don't fill in the middle because that's where the glass is going to go, as you can see. So, let's get started with that. Okay, once you finish that outline, what you want to do, of course, not actually where the concrete is. Don't place glass there because there is no use of putting the glass there. No one's going to see it, right? So just around where the ring is hollow, place in your glass. And what you want to do is actually cover these sides in white concrete or whatever block you might want to use on your interior. I prefer the white concrete. I think it looks a lot cleaner because then when you look from the outside, of course you're going to be able to do the interior after, but when you look at the outside, it just looks a lot more finished, which is definitely a good thing. So for this one, you're actually going to use light gray stained glass, not the glass panes. Just wanted to mention that. So once you finish that, we're going to move on to the next one. Okay, the next one is very, very simple. All it is just 11 across of the gray concrete, and right on top of that, you want to place your light gray stained glass panes. Wow, that is a very, very long block name, right? So what you want to do on the last level of this concrete, of this white concrete, that's where you want to place your gray concrete because you want it to be lined up. Okay, that was very simple to do. Let's move on to the next section. Okay, we are going to start on the next one. The next one is indeed this top section over here. It is the wooden one. It is 11 long, just like the bottom, and just like the one that we're going to work on next. And all you want to do for this one is make the same kind of ring that you made over here, but there is a slight twist to it. I'll show you over here. So what you want to do is actually, you want them all to be in the same direction. So what you can do for the actual thing is make them going upward, because the stripped wood, they all have different directions, almost like the regular logs, because you could see that they're going in different directions. People use them as patterns on floors. So it is a 5 tall build, and what you want to do is make the same exact ring that you did. So it's 5 down, 11 across, right? So you could either do it straight and just build across like this. I personally think that doesn't look as smooth as what I'll show you now. The second option is to pillar up with a different block and put them sideways, because sideways it just looks a lot more smooth. Okay, so you have your 9 on the bottom, and then when you're going up, pillar in just like this, but it's going to be straight. You could do it with a different block if you want, and when you do it like this, I just think this looks a lot more smooth, especially because it goes along with the texture of the signs. And also, on the sides, they all are going to be the same. It doesn't matter if you do it this way or this way, they will end up the same looking on the sides, right? So that's not an issue. And then, of course, what you want to do is put signs on every one of these blocks. I mean, you can do a tiny bit of extra detail with maybe a little bit of words just to make me look like nails. So maybe you want to do like an O. In my previous video, in my suburban house video, I said that you could do that with nails, but I prefer just the more of a clean look, especially because this is meant to be like almost like ridges in the wood. So next, of course, you want to put in your signs and just do exactly what I'm doing. Just click across all of the blocks, and it could be a little bit tricky because sometimes you by accidentally try moving around and then you place letters like I did, but you'll get the hang of it eventually. You just cover the entire thing in signs, and after you finish those signs, just fill your entire thing in with light gray stained glass panes. I missed a block over there. Right, okay. So, once you finish this part of the build, let's move on to the last section, which is one of the easiest, besides that one. All you want to do for this one is go up 5 blocks, make a 5x2 of gray concrete, right? Okay, so once you finish your 5x2, go across another 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And do the same thing one more block down until it reaches that exact point. Then on the bottom, do the same thing if you want it this way. I personally don't think that that looks as good. So I'm going to do it across like this with the stripped oak. Oh, I misplaced a block like that. And then, of course, do the same exact thing with the signs. So whenever there is an exposed stripped oak log, just cover it with a sign. But what you don't want to do, don't put a sign on the side, because if you put a sign on the side, it's actually going to ruin the terraforming. So just make sure, just do the front with signs, right? And then you want to take your light gray stained glass, not the glass panes, and just fill it in on the same level as the stripped oak, right? Just saying, just a little notice, the stripped oak on the bottom is 1 layer back, I'm assuming you can probably see, is 1 layer back than the concrete. It just adds a little bit more depth. And of course, as you can see, you place that little section right under this wooden section, just jutting 1 more block outward, so the stripped oak should be on the same layer, right? So if you look at it by the side, these are on the same, and the grays are on the same. So the woods are on the same, and the grays are on the same. And those grays are on the same block as the white, right? So that is the entire build done. There should be a 4-block gap in between this balcony and the next floor, right? So you could decide what you want to do as floors. Just make sure that this is the dimensions of your build. Okay, so now we are actually going to move on to the terraforming. And we are back to the chest. As I said, the items you will need is stone, andesite, cobblestone, gravel, stone slabs, a stone button, and for the extra thing, you will want, I won't tell you exactly what the extra thing is, but I'm assuming you'll probably be able to tell just by the water bucket itself. You will need a water bucket, stone stairs, and andesite stairs. Okay, let's start with the terraforming. Hey, what's up? I know I probably sound a bit different, and that is because this is editing me, and I'm here to tell you that the way I explained it in the video really does not make sense. So right now I'm just going to show you how I'm actually going to explain it, and it's going to make things a lot simpler for you when you're terraforming your wonderful, wonderful... Okay, so imagine that this is your big build. I actually made a couple of mistakes on this build that I really want to address to you guys right now. So it's not as prominent on this side, but look at this side. This this is not the end of the build, right? So from this angle, it kind of looks like the end of the build on the bottom over here is pretty far inwards as opposed to this area. But actually, they end at the same area, but you can't see this part of the build because it's covered by rocks. So what I'm going to show you now, it's not as prominent on this side because I kind of fixed it up, but before it was pretty bad. It was like this. It was all over the place, right? So the way to fix that is by basically starting a lot farther back. As you can see on the top over there, I started... I'll show you what I mean by started, but I started pretty much over here, which is the first block. I'm going to be starting 3 blocks backward instead of on that first block. So the way to terraform these kind of cliff/mountains is make a steady slope going downward with these blocks. You can kind of see how I'm doing it, like that, right? That kind of makes sense. So when at the very top, you want to make it look more like almost like a curved slope, so more like that, so it kind of slopes over like that. So that's what you want to do first. Oh, and the weather is terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. So let's quickly change that. Okay, now that that's fixed, what you want to do is repeat that same process once or twice, going again. It depends how big you want your mountain to be. But just keep in mind that you want it to be a little bit random, right? So for all of these, I kind of went up 1 block on each of them, and you'll see what I'll do for here. I'm going down 2, and then I'm going up. So kind of randomize it that you're going up on a few, down on some, right? So I'll go up over there, down over there, and then let's go up over here and up over here, right? So then when you look back, it looks a lot more random and almost like it doesn't look as uniform, right? Because if I were to go up again over here, it would just look almost like this, but on every single one, and it wouldn't look as nice, right? So you kind of see how I did that with this one. Some of them are below, some of them are above, and it makes a very, very big difference when you do it like that. So that's basically what you want to do. So start 3 blocks backward over here and just go a little bit more up, go a little bit more down. So that's what you want to do on both sides of the build. Start 3 blocks backward, and what you want to do, maybe pull this, just the roof of this, just a little bit farther back, just so you have a little bit more area to work with on your build. So that's basically what I want to say. I explained it really, really badly in the video, and then just for the side, maybe just go like that, a little bit of that. Just add 1 more thing there, and that looks pretty good. It's a ton more smooth than on this build. It looks a little bit nice as just a mountain in general, but we want to actually show part of the house, and you don't want to make it look like a cutout. Okay, let's pop back into the main recording. Okay, we are going to start on the bottom, and what you want to do for the bottom is kind of just extend what you did over here, but kind of going in almost like an opposite slope, right? So, again, do that little variation over there. Maybe go a little bit farther outward over here. Go like that. Let's look back. That looks a little bit wrong. Okay. And then let's go back here. Go like that. And kind of just look back. And then, of course, you could go from here and just make your way down on all of these just in this kind of way. That looks too uniform. So just make your way down, doing the same thing that you did on top. You're kind of getting the hang of things by now. So just do that across the entire bottom, sometimes starting from here, sometimes starting from 1 layer more down. Just keep in mind that you want things to look pretty smooth. And we will grevel everything up later. Okay, we finished the bottom layer. There is a wandering trader there. That's really annoying me. But as you can see, it's kind of coming together. So you kind of want to make this almost like it's coming off. If you're trying to make it like a mountain or a cliff, it doesn't matter. But that's what you want to do. Just go in and out randomly. Okay, I can't handle this. Okay, after that mild inconvenience, let's start the work on the top, and then we are going to grevel everything. What you want to do is just actually make an outline of exactly where your mountain is going to go. So I would actually go back and then go forward, right? And then maybe let's go back a little bit like this, go like that, and we're actually going to need just a little bit of this. Then we're going to go back, don't worry. So let's take this, go like that, maybe take it like that. Right, so kind of just make your way around until you reach the other side. And just kind of go along like what I'm doing. Maybe let's do a little bit like that, like that. That looks pretty nice. Let's just add one more little thing over there. And that looks pretty good. Now, of course, what you want to do is let's fill all of this in. Right, so just go along, again, kind of the same inconsistencies as we were saying before. Sometimes it's on the full block, sometimes you just go one more back, and just look back, of course, and see exactly what everything is looking like. If you don't like how it looks, just do the same process. So break the blocks, do the same process, and just see how it looks. Right, so you just want to go along, doing exactly what you think would look good. And yeah, that is the top. You could go however many layers you want upward. I'm actually going to just change that on the side. Let's go one more upward. Kind of just stay with the same shape, even though you're kind of messing around with it, because you're just putting a little bit, some blocks forward, some blocks are staying back. But just mess around, see exactly what you think looks good, and you will come up with something that looks similar to this. Of course, it's not going to look exactly like this. I'm looking back, and I see that all of these just don't look very natural. They look like staircases, right? So let's add a little bit of that, a little bit of that, maybe some of that. And of course, once we add the slabs and all the other blocks, it's going to look a lot better. Now it's actually time to do that. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so just routinely, not necessarily on every single corner, but just on some, you just want to place in some slabs just to make a little bit of a smoother transition. So I'm not going on every single top of the block or every single transition, but just to make it look a little bit nicer. What I don't think you should do is actually put it on the last block, because I feel like it just intrudes on the actual build itself, right? But just go along, place in your slabs, and once you have your slabs done, we will move on. Okay, we just did all the slabs. I'm actually going to add a few more over here just to make a little bit of a smoother transition over there. But just look back, of course, that is the motto of this channel, basically. Look back and see if the transitions are smoother or if nothing changed. If nothing changed, maybe add in just a few more. But you could kind of see now it looks a little bit more like a roughed up terrain, and it just looks a lot more detailed, a lot nicer. It's funny how much a slab can do, but just adding these slabs really helps. Of course, I would actually put this on the ground and make your transition a lot smoother instead of having it float above the ground, but you kind of get the concept, and that's really all you need, right? So now that we have the basic definition of this mountain slash cliff done, we are going to move on to the actual details. Okay, it doesn't really matter which block you start with. I suggest starting with andesite, moving to cobblestone, then doing your gravel last. So, a cool trick actually that you could do, if you're on a computer when you're doing this, if you're clicking right and left click at the same time, it replaces the block that you're looking at, which is pretty cool. You have to get it right. It takes some practice, but it's definitely helpful when you're terraforming in creative. You could just go around and just right and left click at the same time, and it really, really makes things a lot quicker. So we're just going to go along with this andesite, and not every, so don't make it in blocks of 3, so don't put like 3 next to each other like that, because it ruins the consistency, right? So just every so often place in, you see I messed up over there, every so often place in some andesite, not so much throughout the build, but just enough to make you able to notice it, right? So yeah, just do that across your entire build, and we'll move on to the next block shortly. Okay, well, all the andesite is in, and you can kind of see just that lighter tone of the andesite mixed in with the stone, and it's already starting to look a little bit more detailed. Once we add in the cobblestone and gravel, it's really, really going to pop. So next thing, we're going to do the exact same thing with cobblestone. Just go along your build, going up and across, and now that the cobblestone is done, look how awesome that looks so far. I think that looks amazing, but we have one final block to add. Just keep in mind with gravel, because it is a gravity block, if there is no block under it, then it will fall, right? So you got to make sure that wherever you're doing it, you got to make sure that there's a block under it, because if there isn't, it will fall and it won't be good. Ooh, that fell one block, so let's just put a slab or something under it to make sure it just doesn't fall. So again, do the same exact thing with the gravel. It might take a bit longer because you have to make sure all of the blocks under them are secure. Oh, let's add just one more slab on top of that then. Yeah, just go about and place in your slabs wherever you're putting your gravel. So basically, once it falls, you kind of just put in the block or the slab or whatever. I'm going to place one here, so I'm going to put a slab under it, and then do it like that. And there's kind of a rhythm to it. So let's go back 2 blocks. Nope, never mind, it's this one. And yeah, let's just place in one more over here. Again, you won't see this. This would actually be the ground, so that would make sense. And look back. I know it's raining. Let's change that now. And yeah, look at this cliff. Look how awesome that looks with the modern house. Again, I messed up a little bit. Sorry about that. I messed up a little bit with this side of the cliff because it kind of intrudes on the balcony over there. But I think that this looks incredible. I think this looks awesome, and it really, really adds to the build to have your own terraformed cliff. It just really makes it really, really outstanding and an awesome build. And now, for the extra part of the build, I'm assuming you all knew that this was coming, we are going to add a water feature. We don't actually have an entrance to this build, so what you would do, you would probably just make a cave entrance, so just start making almost like an arch, right? Maybe go a few blocks outward, go like this, right? Again, you probably wouldn't want it that big, but repeat the process that you did with all the terraforming that you've already done. And what you want to do, just kind of go like this, have it maybe like a little bit on a diagonal, as you can see. That looks pretty good. And then repeat the same process going all the way up. On all of it, it'll look really nice, almost like in a U shape. Again, it won't be as pronounced. On the bottom, do the same thing as we did on the bottom. And on the top, do the same thing as we did on the top. And basically, there are 3 stages: the sides, the top, and the bottom. And once you have that down, terraforming is so much easier, right? So that is your entrance over there, and now we are going to add a waterfall. Okay, well, we finished that entire wall, right? It took a little bit of time. This took a lot shorter because we didn't actually have to fill all of it in, but now that we have that entrance done, of course, you would just kind of make your way up in that cave, going all the way up until you reached the entrance of your house. You could add an entrance if you want, just by making just a little bit. Probably, I would make it out of wood, just like this. Let's actually go in the upwards direction. 4. Go across like this. Go up like this. It's very tricky when you want them all to be in the same direction. You kind of have to do something a little bit tricky. And there you go. You would surround it with your cliff, and then it would look pretty good. It's nighttime, so I'm going to turn it to daytime, and then we will work on the waterfall. Well, it is daytime now. I'm actually going to destroy this entrance because we are going to be putting our waterfall here. So what you want to do, you want to mark out an area where this is going to be a lake where your waterfall is going to land in. Just make sure that you dig out the area in the ground because we are going to be putting sand there. So for me, I'm actually going to go down 1 block, down another block, and just add in just an extra layer to all this, and then put slabs across all the bottom, and just fill in this area with slabs so we could put sand on it later. Right, okay, now that we have that area marked out, it is time to build our waterfall. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is just continue the area of your actual mountain slash cliff. Just make your way up, keep on going up, and we will add different details to this waterfall part than you would normally do. So let's just make this a little bit taller. There you go, it looks pretty good. And then let's just smoothly transition into this. Of course, you would add your slabs accordingly. And this would be in the ground, so it actually wouldn't look like this stone, but as I'm above ground, it looks like stone. Okay, so the next thing you want to do the same exact thing on this side, right? So at the very edge of your pool on the other side, just go up, make sure it's at the same height as the other build. Just make your way up until it reaches the top, and we will work on the actual waterfall after that is done. Okay, so what you want to do, you actually want to connect these two together. So just make your slope going back like that. That looks pretty good. Again, maybe you want to add just an extra layer over here, an extra layer. Just going around, of course, as we did on all the other things. And that looks pretty good. Okay, so repeat that on the same side twice again. So on both sides, just do it one more time. Continuing the cliff/mountain. And sorry, it's just, you have to make it look a little bit more like it's connected to the actual thing. And after that, we will actually get into the actual build of the waterfall. Right, so let's do the same thing on this side. Now what you want to do, you want to mark out the area where your water is going to start. As I would do, I would actually make a river on the top, but that's if you're actually making a full mountain. If you're just connecting this to an actual cliff that's been there before, you don't really have to do anything. But I would place a slab or a stair where you are going to be starting your water, and then make a path for it going down. Right, and then what you want to do on both sides, just go all the way up with blocks, making sure that the water can't get out. And we will change this later. This is just temporary while the water is going to be falling out. So let's just go up like this on both sides. Well, now that that part of the project is finished, actually I didn't complete this part. I actually made just a little hole at the bottom for the water to go into, just so we can make sure that it looks good. So let's start it by waterlogging this stair and just see it cascading downward. And it is going to make it into that hole until we finish the entire project. Right, so now what you want to do is actually pillar up with stone, and on the very top put just stairs going in any direction. Do it randomly, going like this, maybe another one like this, having one going up. Maybe let's use andesite this time. Nope, that looks like it's actually just going in a slope like this, and it will actually look good in the end because we're going to add a lot more to it. It's going to look really, really awesome and very, very detailed. So just continue doing these little pillars, almost like spikes, and just keep on going upward with your stairs and your actual stone. So if you're doing this in survival, it is indeed a lot of stone. Ooh, I made a little mistake there. It looks pretty good, so it doesn't matter that much. But let's go like that. Let's add shorter ones here then, because this is near the top. So let's go like this, and then like this. Then let's just add another one over here. And one more over here. And when you look back, it looks pretty good, but again, it looks very out of place because of all of this straight lines and everything, right? So what we're going to do is we are going to change that up. Okay, so to change that up, we're just going to add another block over there, another block over there. Let's see, going like that. Just go down, maybe another one over here. So just make your way across almost like you're just adding it onto it. And it will look good. Again, add the same exact greeveling and everything that you've been doing across the entire build, and you will get there in the end. And let's just make our way down into this pond. Again, your pond will be severely damaged with all of this, but you don't want to actually add too much because then it actually takes away from seeing the waterfall. But yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So just make it like it's almost like an indentation. We're going to actually remove some of these just to make it look just a little bit more like you're seeing the waterfall. So let's do the same exact thing on the other side. So just make your way up. Of course, just to fill in the lines as well. So you want to do that also. So just fill in the last part of this mountain. And let's do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so we're working on the last side of the mountain, and then we're just going to smooth things up with the actual terrain with the water. So it already looks pretty good on its own. I'm going to get rid of this. I don't know, it rains a lot in all of my worlds, in all of my creative worlds. It rains a lot. I don't know if that has to do with the fact that I always do /weather clear, but yeah, now this is actually done. And we're going to just put a block over there, put a block over there, and now it's time to fill in our pool. Of course, what you want to do, you always want to make sure you light up your builds. I happen to be in peaceful mode, so no mobs actually spawn. But if you were in survival, light up your builds. You don't want a creeper just exploding your entire build you work super hard on. This is a very, very, very long project to work on, especially in survival. All of the resources that you're gathering is just, it takes a long time. So having a creeper blow it up is definitely not a thing that you want to do. So light up your builds. I'm just finishing up this part of the lake, and now it's time to add in the sand. Okay, so I'm actually also going to get smooth sandstone slabs because it looks like almost like sand slabs. I'm going to change it to daytime also. So again, just place in your sand. Ooh, creepy noise. And with your parts of the rocks that are actually going into the thing. So it's going to be a pretty small pond than you probably built it to be. But now that we have all that in, you want to actually maybe just some on the sides, just around, maybe place a few of these little sandstone slabs, and just waterlog all of them so it actually combines with the water, and until it's smooth, and there you go. Just to add a little bit more of a touch, get some white stained glass panes, and this is actually going to look pretty good, right? So go like that. Nope, that... Maybe like that, some of that, maybe over here. It's a little bit hard to place, but when you do it in the end, it looks like the water is almost splashing. Let's maybe move that over there. Right, so it looks like the water is almost splashing out. And look how awesome all of this looks together. If you texture all of them, imagine how amazing that would look. So this is the finished build. I think this looks incredible. Okay, the trick with the banners that I wanted to show you is that on the gray, you could actually use them to make it look like indents. As you saw in the thumbnail, I was actually using shaders for my thumbnails now. So I think it looks good with all the shadows on it, but without shaders, it just doesn't have the same appeal, it doesn't have the same look. So I don't really like doing these banners on the gray concrete if you don't have shaders on. So that's just a little thing that I wanted to show you with the banners. But now that we finished the waterfall, there's one more thing that we have to do. And that is this balcony. So, let's get started on that right now. Okay, the first thing that you're going to want to need is prismarine. Not the regular prismarine, but dark prismarine, right? Let's get some sea lanterns as well. Maybe some glass, just regular normal glass. And some water. I'm assuming you know where this is going. Maybe some quartz. Let's get the smooth quartz. It looks a lot nicer. And the smooth quartz stairs. Okay, so what you want to do is... let's go out maybe 4 blocks with prismarine. So let's just go across over here like this. And now we're actually going to go down 1, 2, like this. And now we're going to go 1 more down, but we're not actually going to fill that in. And we are going to make our way across. We are going to go 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then we're going to just fill in the entire square. And this is going to be a pool / balcony that you're going to be able to look off of, lounge at, and just generally have a good time. So yeah, that's what this is going to be. Okay, of course you also want to fill in the walls. Do it again with your prismarine. As you can see, I'm placing in glass. Why is it always raining when I'm trying to record? I've had to do weather clear so many times, it's not a good thing. I don't know why it happens, but I'm just placing in glass across this whole thing. Just look at this. If you did with 13, then out 2 blocks, glass, out another 2 blocks, glass, 1 block, glass, 2 blocks, glass, 2 blocks, 2 blocks over here, glass, 2 blocks, glass, 2 blocks, and then basically for these parts, it's just going to be 2 blocks, glass, 2 blocks, glass, but for the sides, you're just going to have 1 in the middle, right? Then, of course, on the back of each glass, place in a sea lantern, and then, of course, after we do this, we are going to fill up the pool, and it is going to be awesome. Okay, we still have flowing water, but it should be good enough to kind of get the concept through. Now all we need to put in is get the center, and just make a little bit of a diving board. That's great. Now that we have a diving board, all we need to do is put in some lounge chairs, and what we're actually going to do with that, let's get some banners, white banners, and Let's put them in the ground like so. Make sure that they're straight. And go like that. Then go like that. So let's do that on both sides. Is that okay? That's equal with that. So let's do the same exact thing over here. On the sea lantern, put the banner, stair in front of it. So that kind of just looks like a pillow. That's a very, very awesome design thing that you could kind of do with banners. So yeah, now that is the basic area for that. Of course, you would fill in the walls with all of the normal things that you would do, but that is all that I could show you for now. This is an awesome, amazing house, and I really think all of you should try building it, try terraforming. It's really, really fun. Well, that was definitely fun to make. Oh my god, stupid rain! Oh my god, that scared me so bad. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great day. If you enjoy my content, please make sure to subscribe. We're trying to hit 100 by the end of summer. If you liked the video, please make sure to like the video. That seems pretty reasonable. And thank you all so much for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you all next time. Bye.